Hello and welcome to episode 7 of FPL Journey to 10K, the podcasting series that has specifically been designed to help players like you and me, active players, good players, but ready to take the jump from finishing in that 100,000 position to aiming for the elite and finishing in the top 10,000. And that'll be done either using the statistics that we've got to our fingertips in the community, but I think more importantly, something that you might not get from the other podcasts you're listening to, and that is the expertise and the guidance from one of the best players of FPL on the planet, comfortably ranked in the top 10 in the world of all time. That is, of course, my co-host, Mr. Matt Corbridge. Matt, we're back and talking about future plans. How's your week been without the deadlines?
Yeah, FPL what? I think I'm going to be super rusty coming into this one, right? So you're going to have to help me out with like fixture tickets and whatnot. So I'm feeling
I've got
good.
The stats, don't you worry. The stats are there. The fixture ticker's there. It'll all come swimming back to you.
And I love how you've really calmly navigated those kind of rankings, because with my poor start, I'm like quickly plummeting down those leaderboards, right? So
give it a few weeks.
Top
you'll be back. You'll be back. It's one of the top 100 players in the world. No, you'll be back. You'll be back. No question about it. Got all the faith in the world. You've never finished outside the top 22,000 ever in your 8 seasons, which for us mere mortals is a dream finish.
No, it's top 10K or bust for us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the pod title, right?
Exactly that. And you've done that in 6 out of the 8 seasons that you've played the game. So you have all the faith in the world in you. You'll be back amongst that top. You'll be number 1 spot. That's where you're aiming. I'm aiming for 10,000. You're aiming for number 1. No pressure. But yeah, how's your week been without it? Do you miss it during international break? Do you enjoy the break?
I reckon, yeah, it's coming at a good time. Like sometimes I hate it. Like normal years, I kind of like hate it because it comes so early, right? You just want to get that momentum. But the start of the season has been quite draining, I have to be honest. Like it's been, what's it been, 4 game weeks now, isn't it?
4.
And like there's just been so many options, and like I've had a kind of rough start and whatnot. So like it's been welcome. It's been welcome for me, to be honest. I can switch off. I could watch the Rugby World Cup that's kicked off now, and I've stepped away from fantasy in that as well, so I can watch it in its pure sense, and I don't have to get annoyed by stupid little things. So yeah, life is good. I've enjoyed the break.
Yeah. No, good. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's I was the opposite. So I've had a green arrow. I suppose you can't have a green arrow in game week 1. It's what it is. So green arrow. And then went into the international break on a red arrow. Still fairly happy with my 277,000 rank, which took me a much longer time to get to that high last season. But the red arrow annoys me.
Mention that.
It's what?
Took you 3 minutes to mention that rank.
3 minutes to mention them in the top 300,000. I'm working my way up. But the red arrow annoyed me. It always does, but I know it's just part and parcel of the game. But going into an international break on a red arrow, I always like, I want to get back to green. So hopefully this week we'll get there. And but anyway, we've reviewed Game Week 4 already. That was last week's episode 6. This is episode 7, and it's all about future planning and looking ahead at Game Week 5. So let us bring up the slides and start, as we always do, with the fixture ticker, just to see who has the best fixtures. As you've always mentioned to me since we started doing this, the fixture ticker is a big part of your arsenal, I guess, in terms of looking at your transfers. I'm assuming Luton and Burnley top because they have an extra game than everybody else. In Game Week 7, of course, they have a double game week. But is there anybody on here that kind of stands out? So away from Luton and Burnley, and I'm sure we'll talk about potentially Luton and Morris's option for Game Week 7, but beyond them, Fulham top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, what's this? This is from an attacking point of view, right? Yeah. So we've got Luton, Burnley, the best 2 over the Game Weeks 5 to Game Weeks 9. Then we got Fulham, Spurs, United, Forest, Newcastle, Everton, Brentford, and Chelsea. So, I mean, when I'm looking at this now, I think a lot of us are already starting to think about wild cards, right? I've probably had like some game weeks penciled in for a long time, like kind of like ahead of Game Week 1 even. We probably had like some dates we were loosely targeting. So I think you got to take it with a pinch of salt, right? These because it depends on what your wild card window is, right? I'm sure we'll chat about that kind of later. But yeah, like looking at it in its pure sense, obviously Luton and Burnley, the extra fixtures are massive, right? So I'll be considering a handful of players, I think, on that watch list. United stand out really. So I think their attack has been pretty hot. Maybe hasn't. We've spoken about Fernandez underperforming his stats, but having some really great underlying data. Same story for United. Really, they've scored some goals, but they've underperformed their attacking like stats. Yeah, good fixtures. Brighton are a good team, right? But defensively, pretty open.
Yeah.
Burnley the same. They got Sheffield United in game week 9. So yeah, they got a nice little run. Like some people may still be thinking, I'm going to jump onto the next hot thing, whoever's the horde last week, but like and move from those United midfielders. But they're still looking pretty good. Chelsea, likewise, I've got a double Chelsea attack. I don't hate those fixtures from an attacking point of view, which is really good. Brentford's there. A few people will be doubled up with a Visa and Bumo. So like they look pretty good. Yeah, I think that the struggle here is that a lot of the teams that are top on this ticker, because this doesn't weight. This looks at the fixtures in the purest sense, right? It doesn't weight it to how good that team is. Luton are terrible. Burnley are terrible. Fulham aren't great. They haven't started great. Forest are okay, but they're never going to win 4-0, right? Do you know what I mean? Everton like the same. So yeah, like look at the good teams: Spurs, United, Newcastle have appeared for the first time because they had a horrible start.
Yeah,
Brentford, Chelsea, but there's no one with a kind of. So we're looking at the fixture ticker, right? So like dark blue is good, but light blue is okay, and then reds are more difficult. There's no one with like a sea of blue. You know what I mean? So it's kind of quite mixed. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy. Right? Like looking at my own team, I don't know if you feel the same. I'm feeling quite happy with my picks, United and Chelsea and Brentford, because I feel a bit vulnerable not having a Spurs attacker. But
exactly
that's what stands out.
Exactly that, and it's for that. I mean, after this game week 6 and 7, do I want Spurs attackers? Not particularly. I think there's better fixtures than Arsenal and Liverpool, but yeah, I do feel FOMO for that Sheffield United one.
It's just those ones wedged in the middle, right? If Luton was after Sheffield United, we'd all be jumping on Son and Maddison, right? But it's Sheffield United, great. Arsenal away, very tough. Liverpool at home, who knows, right? But like you'd think, kind of like generally better than Luton and Fulham, which is like super easy from an attacking point of view. It's just the phasing of it is difficult for them. But like, I feel a bit vulnerable and exposed this upcoming game week. But yeah, looking at this ticker, Fulham probably the best. So like, why aren't we feeling FOMO for a Fulham attacker?
You know what? Watching some Fulham games, maybe I don't know why I've watched 2 Fulham games. I'm not a Fulham fan, but I've watched 2 Fulham games this season. And Raul Jimenez, I don't think he's got any attack on his hands yet, but he's been close a few times. I'm not suggesting bring him in, but he's looked not bad. It's looked a bit of a handful.
Andreas always there, isn't it? Like Andreas, and who knows? Like, he might not be on penalties, right? Penalties are massive, so I don't know if Andreas is on penalties or Jimenez, but like, they could be good options in other seasons, right? But there's so many good options at the moment. You won't consider them, but like interesting. I mean, like Luton and Burnley are standing out for me on this one in terms of teams, but I don't have any coverage that I'll target. Spurs, I'll talk about them later. Like I think I'll be giving them a miss for game week 5, and then considering them like in future game weeks from an attacking point of view.
Yeah, we've touched on that before because I know one of the questions about on a previous episode was all about how do you dodge the fear of missing out, and this is a key time for that, right? Because I'm trying to exercise your answer from that one, because in previous seasons, 100% I'll be selling Martinelli, I'll be bringing in Maddison, and we'll come on to who the best captains are. But I'd be all, well, yeah, but then I look at the fixtures after that, and I probably prefer Martinelli. So the Royal stats have been terrible, but I just feel like having and now that I'm trying to stay patient. But yeah, that is the attacking one. Is the defensive one, Oh, should change. There it is. So Newcastle on there again, right now the top.
Yeah.
Interestingly, ahead of Burnley, even though Burnley have the extra fixture. So it really shows that swing for the Newcastle fixtures.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? So like top to bottom, defensive game week kind of fixture ticker according to Fix, game week 5 to game week 9. We've got Luton best, then Newcastle, Burnley, Fulham, United, Bournemouth, Villa, Brentford, Forest, and then Liverpool. So this is a nice one because you can see like some teams with like a real sea of blue, which is kind of really nice. So you don't have that annoying, frustrating thing where it's one good fixture, one more difficult fixture. So Luton stand out, but obviously it's really an outcome of that game week 7 double game week with Everton away and Burnley at home. That's kind of really good, right? That's probably as good a double game week as you can get, right? So yeah, super interesting. And for those who want to go early, Wolves at home, the game week 6 before that's kind of interesting and appealing. The team that stands out for me here it's probably Newcastle. So probably a lot of people have been targeting game week 5.
Yeah.
Game week 5, Newcastle have Brentford at home. So Brentford are a good attacking team. That's not an easy fixture. But after that, they have Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham in game week 8, which is away, which is a tough game, and then Crystal Palace at home, which they're not the greatest kind of attacking kind of team. So I think, yeah, a lot of people have been targeting game week 5 for the Newcastle or game week 6 for that Newcastle fixture swing. They had like awful fixtures to begin with. So it's nice to see them up here. I think, yeah, Newcastle defender is interesting. A lot of my plans had a Newcastle defender. Some of my plans still have them on that kind of short list, but yeah, I'll debate it when we do like team reveals and like the moves.
Yeah.
I probably won't go there, but like, yeah, Newcastle are looking good as a statistically great defense. Ignore the beginning of the season because they've had super hard fixtures, but they've been a good defense for over a season now. They're the ones that stand out. I mean, all the other defenses, I wouldn't really go there. Would I go to it for Burnley? No. Would I go for Fulham? No. They've both been awful from a defensive point of view. I'd say United, Bournemouth fall under that banner. Pretty much all the teams on here, right?
Yeah.
Bar Newcastle.
Whoa. What about Big Matty Cash at Villa?
Oh, we're looking from a defensive point of view, right? So we should be looking at the attacking ticker for Cash playing as a winger.
True,
but, like,
that's true.
I don't see many clean sheets for any of those, like kind of like teams other than Newcastle, really. So, like, yeah, they hit the two like things you're looking for: great fixtures and a solid team as well from a defensive point of view. What is worrying is that a lot of the teams I've got defenders from, they don't really make appearances. So I've got Pickford. Everton have got tougher fixtures now. Diaz from City. City aren't appearing here. Chelsea with like Chilwell, they're not there. Stupinan. I mean, all these players apply for your team as well, right? Because they're very similar defense, right? Brighton aren't here as well. So it does stand out that, hey, I should probably be thinking about my defense.
Yeah, absolutely get that. And that is why I think a lot of people are similar in with those players, maybe not Diaz, but I've got Matty Cash at least, who is on this list, but he's the only one because the other one's Baldock, who it's Sheffield United obviously on here. So maybe that's why people are thinking wildcard time in this next couple of weeks, just because it needs to be refreshed.
Yeah,
maybe more so in the defense than anywhere else.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. But like, yeah, getting Cash in. I know you said it like we're always tongue in cheek because you got his his haul, but like I think you were saying you wanted him for game week 5, right? In the pre-season pod, right? You were saying, hey, my defense looks weak, and Cash, I want him to come in 2 weeks. Game week 2, I think it was, and game week 5. And game week 5, you've got Palace at home here, which Palace are a good team, but they never score many goals, right? They don't have a huge amount of attacking threat. So yeah, surely you'll be playing him, right? This
absolutely. He is good. I know he got his own goal last week, but he's going nowhere.
That's good planning. Fair play.
Yeah, I'm a fan. He's not leaving. But yeah, so these are the fixtures, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be well. Let's look at the individuals, and this is the best in terms of predicted points over the next 5 game weeks.
Yep.
Unsurprising, Haaland right at the top, but I kind of noticed a few things like. There's 3 goalkeepers on this list. 3 goalkeepers.
I'm laughing because I can see Leno So this is the fix. What predicted points? Game week 5 to game week 9. Haaland, of course, like 34.4 get predicted points. Salah, Saka, yeah, you'd expect them. They're always going to be the top. Leno, though, like he's the one that got away right for a lot of people because, like, and I think he's done it for like half a year now. Is Fulham concede a hell of a lot of shots, and low quality shots. So I think there's enough data now to say he's not getting lucky with these hauls. It's just the way they're set up, right? So what we thought Pickford would be, this keeper taking in loads of easy shots, like long distance shots. That seems to be like Leno and Fulham. Like, so yeah, that's kind of quite shocking. But like Leno is predicted to score, according to Fix, anyway, 23.9 points over the next what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game weeks. That's amazing. That's mad.
You take that from your keeper every day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. And then you've got Flecken and Onana. I'm still feeling bitter about Onana's like in week 1 kind of haul. I mean, United look awful kind of defensively. We've got Flecken there as well. But like Morris, he's looking quite good. He's just under kind of Leno, 23.1 predicted points. I mean, obviously it's the power of double game weeks, especially strong ones. We can see 8.2. So captaincy option game week 7.
From Luton, so, I was having a bit of a chat with FPL Andy Pandy as on Twitter.
As you do.
As you do. Me and Andy Pandy like that. And I basically put a little caption about Morris, game week 7 captain, and he basically said, pipe down, Matt should be talking about these decisions. So interestingly, you look at the expected points, you've just pointed it out. Morris is on 8.2, Haaland, same game week, 6.5. Maybe there should be a question for Matt, but I'm going to throw it in now. If you've got a player with a double game week against probably the person who's going to score the highest points across the entire game this season, would you take is this a reasonable gamble? I know we're a couple of weeks off this, but it's just something to get your thoughts
on. I think yeah. I mean, the thing with Haaland, he doesn't have a great game. I think does he play West Ham away, I believe, like
this week. That's this week.
Oh, that's this week. I have to check what game who he's playing on game week 7, but based on these predicted points, it doesn't look great. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm not settled on it. I'm probably 50-50, right? But you know, FPL is a game of chance, right? If you're rolling your dice, obviously some people's dice have like more sixes on it, right? Better players. But if you're rolling the dice twice, it makes hell of a difference, right? Morris's base is 4 points because he's playing 2 game weeks, and then let's assume he's playing 2 bad teams. Does he have a 50% chance over those 2 games to assist or score? Maybe, right? So it's not a bad bet. I've done it in the past, right? Gone for weaker players from weaker teams who've got double game weeks over the obvious picks, right? So I think it was the season before last, Everton had a really poor Everton side, had a double game week, and then Captain Richarlison, right? He got a huge haul in that. And then there was other better players for better teams who had single game weeks, didn't go there. Back in the day, this is a blast from the past. I went for Charlie Austin when he played for QPR for a double game week, and I think it must have been Aguero there was the obvious captain choice back in the day, and I kind of went for the double game week option. So I'm not adverse to it. So it's just because it's Morris. I don't really know much about him beyond he's on penalties and he's got this game ball involvement last season, and Haaland is obviously tiers above kind of everyone. So I'm open to it. Probably 50-50. I have to think about it. So.
He's away at Wolves, Haaland, that game week. The only thing is, I think about 2 or 3 seasons ago, double game week, Emmanuel Dennis, where everybody jumped on him and Josh King, and I think Dennis got sent off in the first game week and ended up on a -1.
True, but does that affect whether Morris is going to score?
No, it does not. And he's playing Everton and he's playing Burnley, so fixtures that. You can very much get at but this is it. Pickford hasn't kept a clean sheet all. It's typical FPL. Pickford hasn't kept a clean sheet all season. As soon as you captain Morris, boom, Pickford clean sheet on the cards. But this is the sort of thing, you mentioned to always throw in it's important to me, as much as I appreciate your advice, I don't just do everything
that
is kind of said, because then it's not my team anymore. And this is, I think, spoiler, but in 3 game weeks' time, I will probably have Morris as captain. Another spoiler, I'm going to bring him in probably game week, just for the 1 game week, because we'll discuss this a little while. I'm drawing questions for Matt, but I'm very much contemplating a wild card in game week 8, and I'll explain why. Appreciate that a lot of the community are looking at game week 9, but I will explain why.
No,
just now, not now.
Makes sense. I'm thinking on the same page with Morris, edging towards him being captain. But I'll have, if he is fit and playing, I'll be bringing him in as will most people, right?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
right.
I'd imagine. And then just looking at the stats as well, we spoke last week about Odegaard. His data, he's outperforming it, right?
Yeah, I disagree with these numbers, right? So this is kind of where, obviously, you shouldn't take it literal, right? Whether you're looking at Fixes predicted stats or FPL reviews predicted stats, right? Add your own view on minutes and players' form and their trajectories and whatnot. Odegaard, he's been super deep this year. You can see that. Last year he significantly overperformed his stats, and this year's stats have been rubbish. They've been 0.15 expected goal involvement. So that's not just goals, that's assists and goals per 90, right? That's non-penalty, right? So he looks better in the stats because he took a penalty, but Saka took the next one. So I don't know whether he's predicted to score 22.7 points over the next 5, Quantifix. I'm a little bit skeptical around that. It might be assuming he's taking pens, or it's got a 50% rate waiting for him taking pens. I think I'm obviously feeling salty for highly owned players that I didn't go for. Odegaard owners have been super lucky versus Martinelli owners, and especially those brave souls who went Havertz.
Thought that was coming.
But if you view it with from a place of skepticism, these things, you'd have to look at Leno. How on earth has a keeper got 5.2 expected points in game week 7 and game week 8? I haven't seen his fixtures. They might be good fixtures, but wow, that's kind of big scores, right? So
yeah, I mean, they're basically going. Yeah, he's going to get a clean sheet in both games, pretty much. So he's got that game week 7. He's a home to Chelsea.
So it's probably assuming Sterling and Jackson are just shit at finishing, which they are. They're just peppering the shots, right?
Well, interestingly, so that's a home to Chelsea, 5.2. The next game week also expected 5.2. He's a home to Sheffield United. So this stat is trying to suggest that the Sheffield United attack is just as good as the Chelsea attack.
Well, I think probably the Sheffield United one is saying that he's going to keep a clean sheet, right?
Save points.
Game week 7 is save points,
maybe.
But again, I wouldn't be betting on Leno getting 5.2 points or above against Chelsea.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
But interesting list, and kind of Morris sticks out like a sore thumb there, doesn't he? Ignoring the keepers, right, for a second. But Morris and game week 7. So well, fair to say he's on our watch list, right? Well, not watch list. We're going to go for it.
He's coming in. He's coming in as our third striker. For that, I think I'll have the money. I'll work that out. I'm pretty sure I'll have the cash in the bank to be able to upgrade my third striker, because I kind of want to keep Jackson as well. I'm not, we spoke about Jackson's stats in last week's episode, and he's on it. I know he's not putting the ball in the net, but it was for expected goals, he's second. For expected goal involvement, he was in the top 10 for the season. So I don't want to lose him either. So it'd probably be that third striker pick for a game week.
Lucky João Pedro owners, right? Their terrible game week 1 pick is now got an exit strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Straight into Morris. Straight in. But this is for the next 5 game weeks. But what I do want to look at is this current game week's expected points. Now, the reason, and the title of the episode probably gives it away, is I think there is an argument to go against Haaland as captain. Now, the stat right there in front of you, you'll be looking at it and going, what are you talking about, Dave? The expected points is he's got 6.6 and he's top of the ticker. But I just don't like the fixture, West Ham away. So I'll explain my rationale. And then if the answer from you is you're talking a load of shit, just tell me I'm talking a load of shit. But as an active player, this is what it's all about, education. So for me, I'm looking at Haaland and I'm thinking to myself, his expected goal involvement so far this season over the 4 game weeks is 4.7. West Ham have only conceded 1 goal in all 4 games. Now, 3 of those games were away, and the other one was against Chelsea.
Yep.
So they're defensively, they've been solid. I know Haaland got a hat trick, but expected goal involvement. That's not just expected goals. Expected goal involvement of 4.7. So that's what 1 return every game expected. So he's
really
outperformed this. It is.
Let's be honest. That's excellent.
But again, he's not been away at West Ham. He's had Newcastle. Granted, Newcastle are a good defense, but they were at home. The other 3 games, who's he played? Nobody as good as West Ham. He's played Burnley, and the others. Who did he score a hat trick against?
I mean, I think you could say have West Ham play anyone as good as Man City. No, because they're the best team by far. And Newcastle against City is that's a better defense than kind of West Ham. I mean, I'll be a bit flippant here, but you said West Ham have conceded 1 goal in 4 games, right? So that's the outcome. I don't care about the outcomes in FPL. It's kind of a little bit, but I'm not going to be led by that. I'll be looking at the underlying data, right? So I think probably a more useful stat is the expected goals conceded for West Ham at a team level. So I don't know if you got that stat.
I did have, and I didn't put it on because it went against my arguments. But I just thought that's just gonna kill the entire thing. So their expected goals against over those 4 game weeks has been 6.8.
Well.
So, but the other players, right, that I'm considering, it's probably Tottenham. And I know your answer already, but we're going to carry on. I'm going to carry on down this path. I've put the data together. I'm looking at Tottenham and Arsenal. So, Tottenham are playing Sheffield United at home. Sheffield United's expected goals conceded is 9.5.
Well, that's big,
4 game weeks. It is.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So they're conceding between 2 and 3 goals expected every game week.
Yeah.
Everton's is 7. So again, both higher than West Ham's. Maddison has got a better expected goal involvement than Son, just for those Son owners, the people that own both. So Maddison's on 3.4 over the 4 weeks. Son is on 2.2. Appreciate people might take into account Son might now be playing down the middle, and he has in those game weeks, apart from one, he was playing on the left. Saka's expected goal involvement 3.8. So for me, these players are playing against worse defenses. Go on, just tell me how many it is.
I mean, Sheffield United's defense really stands out like a sore thumb there, right? So I think that's an interesting factor. Everton and Saka, I don't think that's enough. Yeah, right, Saka's expected goal involvement is inflated by pens as well, as is Haaland. But let's kind of ignore that for a second. So Saka and other Arsenal options I wouldn't really consider against Everton. I don't think from a team perspective Arsenal have offered enough going forward. But Spurs players against Sheffield United, I think that those are the only alternatives I'd be considering, right? So I don't have Son, I don't have Maddison. If I had them, I'd have to have a decision to make, right? So I think they're both good alternatives, right? So I think Maddison's probably a bit better than Son, just because he's performed every single game. Burnley really played into Son's hands, how they were playing, super open moment and kind of whatnot, right? He was just having kind of free reign. And we don't know if Son is going to play a central striker, right? Will Richarlison play there again? So, I think they're both really good options, right? So I won't go as far to say they're better than Haaland as an option, but I think they're viable alternatives, probably for the first time this season. Yeah.
I suppose we'll come on to whether you're thinking of bringing one of them in, but ignore that. If you had, so I get the impression you're going for Maddison over Son. If you had Maddison in your team, so you had Maddison and Haaland, who would you captain?
Haaland, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. But at least you didn't tell me I was a complete idiot and you understood my thought behind it.
But like, I think you got to be genuinely like certain in that decision, right? Not just chasing it to be different or chasing, hey, am I going to take a risk that's going to pay off? Like, I think that sort of mentality you don't need at all, right? You can just like grind away with good, like decent decisions, right? So the predicted points, right? Haaland has got 6.6 next game week. Then it's Salah 5.7. Then you got to go down a bit below for Son at 5.2, and then Maddison at 5.1, right? So this is one of the predictors, this is the fixed ones, right? But like, I wouldn't be surprised if other tools would say put Haaland out ahead. I don't think you can underestimate just like how much better Man City are than other teams.
Yeah. And granted, Haaland went to West Ham last season and scored twice. So
I mean, who's West Ham's keeper?
Areola.
Yeah. Does that give you confidence?
I mean, I'm gonna captain Haaland. It was the first time I've ever.
Zuma.
Yeah. I will be captain in Haaland. It's just this is the first time I've felt this season there could be an argument for somebody else.
They're good options. They're good options. Son and Maddison are good options for sure.
Yeah, but
I agree.
If you've got Haaland, stick with him. That's basically
everyone has,
the stat there. So that takes us on to your favourite part of the episode, which is always, obviously, questions for Matt. The chance for our listeners can throw questions at you, because why should I get all the fun? Now, there is somebody that's asked a question that I haven't put down, and I apologise. That is Saeed Jafari. I appreciate your question. Sorry that I didn't put your name up. I'll make sure I'll put it up next week, even if you don't ask another question. It'll be on there. But your question was very interesting because Matt's in a similar position. So, Matt, the question that was asked was, would you carry 2 Chelsea attackers through until game week 8, or would you look to get rid of somebody now? Now, just to help you out, I'll show you the fixtures for Chelsea there. There they are at number 10. So you have to. You have Sterling, you have Jackson. Looking up to game week 8, are you considering selling any, or are you hanging fire?
No, that's a good run, right? Bournemouth away, Villa at home, Fulham away, Burnley away. That's a decent run. So transfers are valuable. I mean, I've got more press. I've got bigger issues. So I'll be keeping them. I've been happy with Sterling. I've been happy with Jackson. So
you're sticking with it. Is the answer definitely stick with, or it's team specific? Just in case Saeed's team isn't quite as.
I don't really know what team would make it better to move them on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah, I do.
Like, who are you targeting if you were looking to move them on? Like Maddison and Son? Like, you got an Arsenal. I'd rather move an Arsenal mid than Sterling, or insert any other midfielder other than the Manchester United ones. Like, do you know what I mean? So
that was exactly it. Thinking about Saeed's comment, it was, would you move one on for Maddison? So there's the answer. No.
And like, this isn't directed at kind of you specifically, but like people, everyone's jumping on Sterling last week because he scored 19 points. Now everyone's jumping on Song because he scored 20 points, right? And it's like whoever's flavour of the week, right? So you got to have a bit of patience. You brought in like no one had Sterling at the beginning of the season. If you did, fair play to you. But like, I doubt it. You probably bought him as part of your double Chelsea attack last game week. The reasons why you brought him in, they're still valid now. He's a good player with good stats, and kind of like he had better expected goal involvement than Maddison. He had the better, like Son beat him a little bit, but Son had a hat trick. Like Sterling had like 0.6 expected goal involvement. I think last game week, that's a good performance. So all the reasons why you brought him in, they're still valid. Just because he didn't 1 week don't mean he's a bad pick.
Yeah, that's it. Well, if we prove that with keeping hold of Bruno Fernandes, and then he bagged the 12.
No, exactly.
A lot of people jumped off him. So there you go, Said. Do not rush to sell. Back to the others. So Kyrie Irving has asked a question, probably my favorite question anybody's asked, which is, how do we know each other and what made you agree to help me? Now, I'm telling you now, we're not answering the question. That's none of your business, Kyrie. We've known each other for, what, about nearly 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years and like we'll keep it a business associates, right? So we add a bit of mystique and mystery.
Yeah, that's it. We just, we just know each other in passing.
Funny story though. So Dave did know of me before we worked together. So that was a bit of an awkward.
Correct. That was
an
interesting initial chat
before we knew each other in person.
Yeah. That's one of your 6,000 Twitter subscribers before we got acquainted. But yeah, that's as much as you're gonna get, Kyrie. I'm afraid. So there's
helping you out as well. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like we chat about this anyway, right? So
yeah, we do.
Like, we're just putting a microphone in front of us and recording it. Right? We'd have a chat anyway, and like, I was always saying to you, right? Do you know what I mean? You were always good. Like you were a good player. Like, do you know what I mean? Like always finishing top 100K. Like, but you'd always be going for a punt. I'm like, no, why are you doing that? So,
I think, I was the difference between you'll play the non-punt game and it works, right? And you're 38 weeks of the season. It might be like 1 or 2, but yeah, you're right. So I'll do that for 28 weeks of the season. But in the other 10. I'm like, I'm a bit bored. That's Captain Sterling because he's got a double game week. Oh, look at that. He's injured in 28 minutes. So there's a little bit of a little, which this week I would. Last season, I would 100% have been selling Martinelli, getting in Madison and giving him the arband.
Probably should have actually.
Well, this week coming, I still could.
No, last week would have been a good move. It's not a bad move this week, to be fair, but.
Yeah, we'll. I probably won't, but we'll come on to that.
Stay true to yourself, right?
Oh, I will be, but I think you're right. There's sometimes when it's worth the gamble, and sometimes when it isn't. And I don't particularly want Madison until game. I want him for this game week, but I don't want him until game week 8. After this game week, so I think I'm just gonna hide behind my couch for 2 hours on Saturday or whatever day they play, and just hope he doesn't bag. Next question, FPL. In fact, that was FPL Woodsy that asked me that question. Sorry, Kyrie, I'm giving you. I got the wrong person. Woodsy asked us that question, so hopefully that answers that question for you. But Kyrie was talking about Son. We've kind of touched on this already. This week, would you captain him over Haaland, or would you captain Son over Haaland in game week 8? So game week 8, Son has Luton at home to add to that, whereas Haaland has got an away game at Arsenal.
So I think game week 8 there's a better justification there, right?
Yeah,
I think Arsenal away is a lot tougher than West Ham away, right? So we said like probably not this game week, but Son is a good pick. Do you know what I mean? He's a very good captaincy option, but I think Haaland just about pips him this week, and then kind of like thinking ahead to game week 8. That becomes a very interesting option.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. I don't want to kind of commit saying that it's better.
No, yeah.
I mean, that's got all the flavors, right? Probably the easiest game you can get, like Sheffield United and Luton, have probably seen like the worst teams, right? And then with the hardest game other than playing City themselves, but they can't. So it's the hardest game that they've got all season on paper, right? So yeah. I mean, that's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah. But don't commit because who knows what's going to happen over the next 3 game weeks. I saw there was some news. I don't know how true it is, and I think that the South Korea are playing today. But there was a picture of Son with an ice pack on his knee. That was released today.
So just shame he's not in the protected boot. If he's in a protected boot, he's going to fall next game week. that's like
apart from
like the sign with these injury kind of rumors. Where if they got a protected boot, they're going to do and smash it the next game week. But wait and see in it. Like I think that's like just a general advice, a bit of advice in it for international breaks. Like loads of things can happen. So wait to those press
Well,
conferences.
he played today, so he
Oh,
did.
well.
So yeah, he started the game as well. So I think his injury is fine. But yeah, there you go. That's that. That was a quick one. Now the question from Matrix. Before I touch on transfer question of the week, which is also from Matrix, there were some good questions. You know what? We'll touch on the transfer one first because I think there's a longer discussion to be had from his other question. But thoughts on selling Sterling for Son? The reason I'll go to that first because you basically answered that with the last question. No is the answer.
Well, it's team dependent, right? So
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 of wildcard in game week 9, but I'm building on some flex that I'm not fully committed for that. But Sterling's fixtures until then are good.
Yeah,
they are pretty good. Son's fixtures until then are excellent this game week, and then he's got 2 tough ones in between, right? And then an easier one. So maybe, but like I think medium term, if you stretch it beyond game week 8, game week 9 onwards, Son's fixtures are better, right? So like Son is a longer, and Maddison as well. I'll say the same for Maddison. They're longer holds than Sterling. He's got a very short term lifetime, right now. But like if you're looking for a 4 to 5 week game, kind of game week horizon, Sterling is fine. I'd say the transfer. But if you want it for the long term and looking beyond that, then yeah, Spurs player in for Sterling could be okay.
Yeah, got you. Well, the other question that I thought would be a bit more to touch on is Matrix was saying he noted game week 9 as what a lot of the community are going to try and look at a wildcard game week, and noted actually is game week 10 not the better, as there's a bit more of an enticing fixture swing. Now, I've been thinking about my wildcard and I've touched on it slightly. I'm actually thinking the opposite of Matrix. I actually want to do it a week earlier rather than a week later. I'm thinking of doing it in game week 8. Now, to kind of show thoughts and get your views and so on, these are the fixtures from game week 8 until game week 15. So I've kind of covered a 5-6 game week regardless of where you're going to play your wild card. Now, looking at game week 9, the teams that you're going to want to try and attract for me, right at the top, you're probably going to want to maybe look at a Watkins. You're definitely going to probably want to look at a Son or a Maddison. Liverpool's fixtures turn, so you might well try and get a Salah into your squad, Newcastle's defence, so on and so forth. Well, I'm looking at those teams, and I'm looking at their game week 8 fixture. Right, well, so if I want Watkins at West Ham, why would I not want him when he plays Wolves? If I want Son or Maddison against Fulham, why would I not want him when he's playing Luton the game week before? So I'm looking at these fixtures, and I'm like, well, surely game week 8 makes more sense because I'm getting them a game week early. They've still got ridiculously nice fixtures. The only team that worries me there, and plus City and Arsenal play each other, so I want to get rid of those players. I've got 2 Arsenal players, I've got 2 City players. I don't want them going into game week 8, so it'll give me a chance to get rid of them too.
Yeah.
The one team that I worry about is I'd probably end up getting rid of Chilwell and Jackson, and they're playing Burnley.
Exactly.
In game week 8. But for me, I'm willing to take that risk to then get the benefits of bringing in everybody else the game week early. Now, that's my view. Obviously, the question was, is it worth playing it in game week 10 rather than game week 9? Because the fixture swings look a little better. But I'll let you answer that because I'm failing to see whose fixtures look better in 10 than 9.
Where's this ticker from, by the way?
This is a random website I found. I've no idea.
Thank you, Rando.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice though, isn't it?
No, it's really easy. It's like really easy on the eye and whatnot. And yeah, top teams are Villa, Spurs, Liverpool. What's it? It's game week 8 to game week 15. Yeah. Villa, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, Palace, United, Forest, Sheffield United, West Ham. They're the best teams. Then the worst ones, the fixtures are Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Luton, Brighton. Game week 10. I mean, I don't really see it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, so like Villa, their run starts at 8. They have a great run continuing like forward. Spurs, they have some good fixtures. Their run starts in 8. Newcastle, they have a good fixture beforehand. Like who actually has a good thing? West Ham, I get that. So West Ham, they start with Everton, then they have a really nice run. But like they have Villa in 9, so you can bring West Ham players in for Villa away without too much regrets. Burnley have a nice run starting game week 10, but I don't think you want to build your wild card around Burnley players if we're being like totally honest and blunt. I think the only one that stands out is Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton is the one that stands out. So if you want to be heavy on Brighton players, then that game week 10 could be the one, because they've got like Liverpool game week 8 and then what's that, City and game week 9, right? So 2 super tough fixtures. Then it's Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Forest, Chelsea, Brentford. So like a really nice run, especially from an attacking point of view. But I mean, is that enough? Really, is that enough? Because I think that would be the West Ham and Brighton would be the ones that you're building your squad around. But like, could you bench a Brighton player? They're quite cheap, right? Could you bench them game week 9 if you want to go there? I don't know. Yeah. So I'm not seeing that, if I'm being honest, right? But I'll probably have to look at it. Like, that's the first time I've considered it, really. But like, looking at this visual you got here, I see a lot of the teams you'd be targeting, they already have good fixtures game week 8, game week 9. So so team dependent. Dependent.
How much would you then? So I'm considering 8 because same as you. I see the people I want to target have a good fixture, apart from Chelsea. Although I don't want to target Chelsea from game week 9, that'd be more of a potential regret on selling their players in game week 8. But that is what it is. Is there a reason you wouldn't go for game week 8? Is it that international between 8 and 9?
More info is always valuable, right? So we're like super early in the season still. Every game week we learn more info, right? So it's good. It's that's handy. International break comes immediately after game week 8, which I don't care about too much, but like, it is a fact to consider, right? It's 2 weeks when players could get injured, they could get fatigued, all that kind of good stuff, right? So because it's mad, like then a lot of teams play like 3. A lot of players can play like 2 or 3 games in that international break, right? So there was a chance for those injuries there. And then generally it's just like, I'm looking at the players I'd be removing, the players I'd be getting in, right? And like, I've got 3 Chelsea. It'd be a shame to remove them out of game week 8 when they're playing Burnley, right? Burnley is away, I have to admit that, but Burnley looks super leaky, right? So I'd like to keep them ideally for that kind of game week, if I'm being honest. And then when it comes to Arsenal and City playing game week 8, which I think a lot of people got a lot of interest in and a lot of kind of vested kind of interest there, I think I won't have a single Arsenal player.
Get rid of them prior.
Game week 8 based on my move. So I'm exited from Arsenal.
Yeah,
I'll have Haaland, who everyone's going to play anyway that game week. And Diaz, I have to see what I could do with him, but I think I could probably comfortably bench him. Looking at some of the other, that's pretty something for me to check in. I might have to have a pretty dodgy defender game week 8, but hey, City, right?
Matty Cash, top of the ticker.
Do you know what I mean? But like, City are City, right? So they can keep a clean sheet against anyone. I know it's cliched, but one player in my starting lineup, he's got a bad game week, I don't mind. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's probably that kind of me with an exit plan for Arsenal, and me having like 3 Chelsea kind of means that, hey, I'm quite comfortable to kind of go into game week 8 and have that extra info, the assurance of not having the international break. Then I can go for it. And then Villa, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham. Like, there's a lot of shifts for players I don't have much exposure to, right? So but look at this. I don't know if you've considered it, but like, do you go without Haaland? Look at this run for Man City.
No, we're doing else.
Arsenal, Brighton, Manchester United, Bournemouth. Obviously, that's really exposed. Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Villa. It's probably something we should consider. Like that. That's a very tough run. And then, obviously, what you don't see here is that they've got a blank game weekend. Is it 16 or 17? So you got game week 8 to 15. But Man City, they do have a blank coming up then as well. So like, I mean, those are some tough fixtures. I mean, like, could you be comfortable captaining Maddison, Son, and Salah for a period? Maybe. Interesting one.
You're right. It's because if you compare straight Liverpool against City, there, even when City are playing Bournemouth, Liverpool are playing Luton. But every other fixture, you'd probably put in Liverpool's favour.
Yeah, I mean,
when they play each other.
When would you captain Haaland over Salah? for some of these games. Would you captain Haaland against United away versus, Salah
Nottingham
against
Forest.
Forest? Well, I don't know actually, but there's a debate to be had. We're not going to settle it now, but I think I wouldn't be surprised just because we are the trailblazers with this sort of stuff. Like no Haaland will become a point of.
If everybody else starts talking about no Haaland, this is where it started.
Yeah, we'll get in early. We'll get a lot of these kind of predictions kind of wrong and whatnot, but we'll keep running with them, and then we can just get the kudos for being first. But I think it'll be a point of debate. I bet a lot of the prediction tools, right, with forecast expected points, they're optimal solves, and the optimal teams will go without Haaland. I'm sure of that. Looking at those fixtures now, actually.
Yeah, they are tough. They are tough, and obviously everybody will be looking to a way to fund Salah. Well, the easy route is don't have Haaland.
Exactly.
But saying it and doing it are two very different things. But I'm glad Game Week 8 made sense. But yeah, I know what if you've already got the plan, that's it. I'll look at my team in Game Week 8. I'll see, does it need it? If it doesn't, I'll probably crack on. I need to get rid of Martinelli. Definitely. He's doing my head in. He's the one player on the team that I'll look at and go, why are you still here? So he'll be. You must do that with Gabriel. But Martinelli's on his way soon. But yeah, I'll have a look. Closer to the game week. But I just thought game week 8 looked an interesting one.
I agree. It works. They're both, like you said, a lot of the teams people will be targeting in 9. A lot of them have good fixtures in 8, so team dependent, but going early may not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and to hopefully get those price rises. Not that matters too much, but
if you want Haaland and Salah, maybe it does. Maybe I've been done the whole time, but
he's already gone up, hasn't he, Haaland? But we'll move. I don't think he'll go up much more. I think his ownership's too high for him to continue to increase.
He can't go higher based on much higher based on his ownership. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, but we'll have a look then at my plans for the game week, and it shouldn't take too long because I've basically touched on it. I forgot to unhighlight that. That isn't highlighted for any particular reason for those that are watching. I just forgot to take the highlights off after making my amendments. But here's my team.
Blame our graphic designer. We'll send him a note.
Send myself an email and go, well, what were you thinking? So this is my Game Week 5 plans. So out of the 2, I've got Pickford and Turner. I'm going to play Turner. I think, obviously, Pickford's playing Arsenal. Turner's at home to Burnley. I'm not expecting points from either of them, if I'm honest, but I feel there's more chance of the clean sheet at home to Burnley than at home to Arsenal. Now, save points did come into play. Arsenal obviously beat Arsenal. Everton obviously beat Arsenal last season at home, 1-0. But yeah, I'm not convinced that'll repeat itself. So go with Turner. Quite happy with the defence. Chilwell away at Bournemouth. He's dodging points. Hopefully he doesn't dodge them this week. Ruben Diaz away at West Ham. Again, best defence in the league. So hopefully he starts and can come in with a clean sheet. And then Matty Cash at home to Palace. Hopefully getting a clean sheet, potential attack and return there. The only other option I had was a Stupinan, but away at United, and United look decent going forward. So I'd be basically needing him to get an attacking return, and I'm not convinced enough that he will. So that's the reason he's on the bench. And then the 5 across the midfield. So Mbeumo looks really good. Newcastle's a tough fixture, but I don't mind giving him the chance to do it against at St James's Park. Double Arsenal with Saka and Martinelli away at Everton, and then Rashford and Fernandes both at home against Brighton. And Brighton's defence doesn't look that great to me, so hopefully they can get some attack and returns. Feels horrible saying that as a United as a Liverpool fan. I hope the United players get an attack and return, but you've got to manage with your head in this game, not your heart.
Before loyalty, always, right?
Yeah, don't let me dad hear me say that. And then up front, I've got Jackson away at Bournemouth. Again, his stats are ridiculous. And then Haaland with the armband. If I do sell Martinelli for Maddison, I'll consider it. That's kind of what my initial thoughts were. Target the fixture, especially as a captaincy option. But then I've already noted the drawback is I don't really want the Tottenham players then again until game week 8.
Yep.
So I'm kind of leaning towards that second option. Roll a transfer and then target a Newcastle defender probably next week. That's what I'm looking at.
I think that's fair. I mean, I necessarily consider Udogi in this week, really, because I think your defenders are perfectly fine, and then it's the two tough game weeks. But which I know you've got as one of your options. But yeah, I think your options looking at your team are probably what you've listed there, right? So Martinelli to Maddison, who I think actually personally for this game week is better than Son, but each their own on that one. But yeah, I think it's either that or roll a transfer, and then you got 2 free transfers, and they can bring in potentially Newcastle assets ahead of their nice fixtures, because they got Brentford, who are they're a top 4 attack at the moment this year, and they've been hot for a long time from an attacking point of view. So yeah, I guess what you've got to be thinking about is Martinelli is a decision, right? It's not the ideal game to remove him. Everton away, Everton have been very, very leaky. I can see Saka as your vice captain. There's enough of Fixture to put him as your vice captain, right? So, yeah, you got a form of view of like, hey, Martinelli, was his relatively slow start? Is it down to him? Is it down to fixtures? Is it down to Arsenal? Was it down to Nketiah starting instead of Jesus, right? So Jesus is back now, who I think historically has really helped Martinelli, because I know there was definitely a trend last year when Nketiah was playing. Generally, the whole team is a lot worse, right? The step down is massive, but like he's a poacher, right? Whereas Jesus is like a kind of Roman false 9, right? Who kind of interchanges with Martinelli. So, I mean, yeah, I think you got a decision to make. Do you hold or do you go Maddison? Can't say which one's a better option, to be honest, but yeah, I can see pros and cons for both.
Yeah, I want the 2. I want the 2 transfers. I'm probably going to hold. That's where I'm at the minute. But
it's not a bad option, right? Like someone gets injured, happy days, you're a genius, right? And you're regretting, I didn't need to make that move, and I've got two free transfers. You think it's yourself, happy days. Future planning.
Future planning is,
you have an extra transfer that you can use to dead end your team in game week 7 as well, if you wanted to. Right? I don't know who you'd be targeting, but like, it's always interesting, right?
That's it. It's exactly what I'm looking at. And so Morrison. I'm going to bring Morrison. Whether I captain him over Haaland's a different matter, but I'll be bringing him in definitely. And yeah, if I've got that second transfer for game week 7, I'll probably. I don't know whether I'd take the gamble on maybe another, like a Luton goalkeeper. I think Everton and Burnley potential clean sheets, but I'll cross that bridge closer to the time. A lot can happen between now and then, but yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm glad that from what you said there makes sense. What I'm thinking, either option. So that's good. On to yours. See where you're at.
Yeah. So a very similar team to yours, really, right? I've got, Turner, Chilwell, Gabriel starting, Ruben Diaz, and Mbumo, Fernandes, Sterling, Saka, Rashford, Jackson, Haaland, captain, Estupiñán, Baldock, and Mbama, as well as Pickford on the bench. Yeah, I think a similar kind of decision to you. I've just got 1 free transfer coming into this game week, so my options really are I can either hold if I think Gabriel is going to start, which I probably think he is going to, right?
Well, I'm just checking out because I know there was a potential injury to Gabriel.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
No, yeah. I'm just checking the updates. So yeah, carry on and I'll find it and let you know what the outcome was.
He played Bolivia, I think.
Oh, did he? All right, okay.
But that was when he was like pictured on the bench. So he started that game. I think it was the first ever Brazil cap, and then he was pitched on the bench with what looked like an injury. So I think there's another game coming up that will help us.
He trained with Brazil. So after the scare, so you're fine.
So I think he'll start, but like whatever. It's kind of neither here nor there. If I roll, I'll be starting him over Estupiñán kind of easily. If I do make a move, it'll be a defensive move. Like we spoke about the ticker at the moment. Both of us are, both our teams are not really aligned to teams with good defensive kind of fixtures and whatnot. So if I was to make a move, it would be Gabriel, the one of Udogi, Botman, or Shah, targeting Newcastle ahead of their kind of really nice defensive kind of like run, or Diaz to Trippier. So out of those kind of options, the one that I'm tempted most with is probably Gabriel to Udogi. And that probably feels weird, right? Because that's a Spurs defender. And we know Spurs have those mixed fixtures, right? They got a great fixture game week 5, great fixture game week 8, but 2 dodgy ones in the middle, Arsenal and Liverpool. However, looking at my team, I think it just makes a lot of sense, right? So where would I need it? When would I need to start Udogie? It'll be this game week. So he can come in against Bournemouth, tap into that attack for Spurs, right? There is a chance for an attacking return. His stats have been all right. He's massively overperformed them. He's been quite lucky, but he has historically been good attacking. He's been very good this year as well. And game week 8 is when Spurs have got Luton away or at home. I want a Spurs player, right? Do you know what I mean? And my defense looks pretty crap really for that game week. So those 2 game weeks where I really need a defender, he has great fixtures. And in between, next game week, Stupinan has a good fixture, I think. Right, so I could play him.
He does.
Alongside Chilwell and Diaz. And then game week 7, I can bring in a Luton defender.
Double it up.
So yeah, Udogie, I'm between holding a transfer, which is probably the smart thing, or bringing Udogie in to get tap into some really nice fixtures that work for my team, and I can cover those tough ones in between. Obviously, my considerations that you made those notes. Yeah, there's a Newcastle fixture swing. If I go Udogie now, I've missed that fixture swing. It is what it is, and I think what I'm trying to do as well with Udogie, the benefit that he's got, Diaz to Trippier or Gabriel to Shah, less so Botman, but kind of Shah and Trippier, that will cost me money, right? And I want to bring in Morris, I forgot his name. He's the Luton striker.
Morris.
Like it's so weird. FPL, we would just not know who this guy is, but
we'll bring him in and captain him.
Like Morris, I want to bring him for Ubama. I don't want to move Jax because I want to view it as a 1 game week thing. So I want to bench him in game week 8, right? So I want to free up cash so I can go, Ubama to Morris, right? So the benefit of bringing in Udogie for Gabriel. It's not a huge saving because of the price swings now, but I'd save 0.1, so it helps me get a nice pathway to Morris as well. So that's all they're thinking. So I think speaking out loud now, I'm probably trending towards bringing a new Udogie, right? Yeah. But then probably the other option is I can roll it, which is probably the smart play, right, to cover injuries. And I'm not desperate for a player. Gabriel is fine. He could well outperform Udogie next week, but that's what I'm considering. So
that's good. It's good. Yeah, it's there you go. I said Gabriel must be winding you up, but you seem fairly happy to stick with him, and I think he performed well when he played last week. I think it was last week his first start of the season, but he seemed to play well. So maybe he's got that trust back. Zinchenko's back, and I think you noted in the early game weeks, Gabriel seems to play more when Zinchenko's fit and starting. So. Maybe that trend is right, and that's what will continue for the next few weeks for Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm very confident he'll play next game. We can play most of the game weeks moving forward. It's just are there better options? So why are you wildcarding game week 8? You said that Arsenal exposure was a big reason. I've got plans to exit those Arsenal players by game week 8. So if I get rid of Gabriel this week, Udogie, that kind of covers me for that game week 8 game and brings in a fantastic player for game week 8. Speaking out loud now, game week 8. I know you're not asking about game week 8, but I think I'd be getting rid of Saka as part of a dead ends team to bring in Son or Maddison, right?
Yeah.
So, kind of all fits in with that kind of wider plan. So all these moves that I'm considering, they're all with that time frame in mind, working towards a wild card I'm likely to do in game week 9.
Yeah, I'm with you. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And that. Why does this not work every time? There you go. That brings us to the end. Thank you as always, Matt. Thank you for joining us. We're back. We'll be. I think the kickoff. It's a Saturday deadline for the first time this season.
Yeah.
11 a.m. on Saturday. Liverpool Wolves is the early game. I'll make sure I'm out of bed for that one. Are you looking forward to it?
It'll be good to be back. It'll be good to be back. I've enjoyed the break, I have to say. So that's why I was hesitating a little bit. But yeah, I think it'd be good to be back. Like, it would just be lovely to see someone like Jackson scoring.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of
Another weekend
sales.
of having these like near misses, these players
Yeah.
that got great underlying stats. Like, yeah, we want to avoid that. But
1-0 Arsenal Odegaard goal. It's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. We're back. Hopefully, both get a green arrow. Both carry on working our way up the ranks. But as always, thank you for joining. I didn't change this slide either, but I'm happy to thank FPL Focal and FPL Matt W yet again for their kind support and sharing this across their communities. So thank you to both of them. But if you did enjoy it and you got some benefit and you've learned something and we've helped, please do give us a like, give us a follow on YouTube and Twitter. Would very much appreciate it. And then others can hopefully find us and get that same benefit as well. But Matt, you'll be back in the top 5 next week. I'm guarantee it. And I look forward to seeing you there. But appreciate you joining us. Appreciate your advice as always. I'll catch up with you next week. Where we'll review game week points from game week 5 and also our teams for the upcoming game week 6. But thank you to the listener and the viewer for joining us as well. And we will hopefully see you next week too. All the best for the game week ahead and speak to you then.